And here we are, Stephen. And we have guest with us, Mr. Mayor Ted Clugston. Morning, sir.
Good morning. We're a day late, I guess, and it's my fault.
It is your fault.
How come you weren't out there with your cherry picker and pliers fixing our power?
Well, if I was, we would still be off the air.
And probably in the hospital, too.
Yeah.
So that was just a simple power outage?
Yeah, as far as I know, it was in Parkview, Northeast Crescent Heights that we had. It was actually a small one, I think, but...
it was only like 100 customers, but...
Yeah, and a radio station.
But, okay, so this is the Mayor's Minute, brought to you by Mr. Lube and Crystal Metz Insurance Agency, which usually happens on Wednesday, but we're making up for it. Let's start with some COVID stuff. Let's start with the masks then, because that was in the news this morning. You're letting the bylaw just sunset, as you put it?
Yeah, we put I'm calling a sunset clause in it that it would expire on March 4th unless council extended it or renewed it or, added another date. A lot of the municipalities, Calgary and Edmonton, they just went till the end of 2021 just arbitrarily.
Right.
Some have let theirs sunset or just pass. Like I think Red Deer's has let theirs go as well. The idea always was to take our direction from the province, from medical experts, and now that obviously when we put ours in, there wasn't a provincial one. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, there was one about 3 days later, which could have saved us a lot of heartache and pain and caused this community a lot less stress. And as soon as the province brought theirs in, ours became redundant, and so we're allowing it to lapse.
Okay.
And there's been a lot of confusion.
Yeah.
I still have, honestly, up until a couple days ago, I've had people calling my office saying, would you please rescind bylaw so I don't have to wear a mask? Oh. And then when you say to them it wouldn't matter whether I did or not or we did or not, they basically have called me a liar. So
the province is pulling the trigger on the masking. So yes, you have to keep wearing your mask.
Yes, thank you. So that's the number one question I'm getting. Yes, you still do. There's not much difference between the two. The fines are a little larger for the provincial one, but we haven't, I don't think, even written one fine here in the city of Medicine Hat.
Maybe you can give us a definite answer on this, because we did have a text message come through earlier asking what the cost of the vaccine would be, the COVID vaccine. That's completely covered by the feds, right?
Yeah, so it's free. I think that's the number. I don't think anybody knows that number, what the different federal governments have paid for the vaccine or per dose.
Right.
I think that's been kept fairly secret, and there's all the rumors that if you pay more, you would have received more earlier, but I have no idea what it is that cost per dose.
Okay. Aren't they different price between Pfizer and Moderna?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
But I think that's kept pretty guarded.
Okay. One more COVID-related thing. You, and by you I mean City Council, had drafted that letter for the Premier talking about a regional approach to health restrictions. Did he not come out and say that that's not going to happen?
Yep. I think last week when I was I said, Dr. Hinshaw had opened the door.
Yep.
It's been slammed shut since. And I did receive a response from the Premier's office. It was the usual please go away response that we've received your letter. Thank you.
But it was said more politely than go away?
We received your letter. Thank you.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Let's talk about council on Tuesday. You guys had passed an economic stimulus program worth a few $1 million. Give us some more details on that.
Yeah, it's $5.2 million over 2 years. If you remember, we used to have that downtown incentive program, which was about $200,000 a year, which actually was very successful in the downtown the last 10 years, stimulating, I think, 130 businesses that accessed it. But this is, when we announced the waterfront, people said, of course, it's an election year. You've got a shiny new project that will be forgotten right away, and you won't execute on it. It's just talk. There's no action. And what we're trying to show is that there is going to be some action. First of all, of course, the 603 First Street will be developed this summer. Athletic Park will be developed, redone. A project across from City Hall will be done. New Rock is knocking down the arena, hopefully this summer, and building their new project. And then we've announced grants for businesses, for condos, for infill development, and even what we call greenfield development as well. And some people might say, well, what the heck, you're cost-cutting, got $14 million out of the budget. You've been laying off employees. Where did you come up with the $5 million? And we're just looking at this as a reinvestment, the tax. So no project will be approved unless it can show an increase in taxable tax to the city, plus utilities and job creation. So I liken it to, if I own a store and I'm selling widgets, I need to buy some widgets up front in the hopes of selling them eventually at a profit. And we won't be incentivizing anything that doesn't have a rate of return to the city.
Can we back the truck up there for one moment? Knocking down the arena? Is that this is the first I'm hearing of this.
Oh, this has been in the works since 2015, since the new one opened. And the New Rock we had to deal with the city to knock it down. And if you go on their website or even on the city website, there's a short video that kind of shows it doesn't have very much on it yet, as far as I know, unless they've updated it. I'm not even sure if it's going to be townhouses or small condos. But they're going to build them right on the river there.
Well,
at the same time as the construction will be occurring at Athletic Park.
What are they doing at Athletic Park? Just rebuilding it, or?
We're adding suites. I'm not even totally sure. We're working with Greg. He's super excited.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he's going to have to play up in Crescent Heights, McCoy field there again this year, like he did in 2013, which isn't the greatest. But then again, who knows if he's even going to be able to play this year. But suites and just upgrades, concession upgrades, entrance upgrades. We have some preliminary drawings, but we do have to get started right away because it has to be done by the end of the year.
Sounds great.
All right. One other thing from council was the CCDA petition. We've talked about it before, but what's the timeline on getting first reading on a bylaw that would ultimately dissolve the agency?
Yeah, we'll have a first reading either next meeting or the meeting afterwards. So within a month, for sure. And there are a bunch of rules. We have to have first reading, and then we have to have second and third within, I think it's 6 weeks. So there is a process that is prescribed, and City Council has to follow the rules that are prescribed to get this done, and we'll see how it goes. I've always said, the confusion about the CCDA is that people think it's a city-run organization, and it's not. It's a business development or business revitalization zone. Mm-hmm. And if they decide that they no longer want to form an association, that's their right, and we'll let the business owners vote and decide.
All right, and we'll end on this segment will end with handguns. Any chance we'll see a handgun bylaw in Medicine Hat?
I can't imagine how we would ever wade into that.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Well, we're in Alberta, for one thing. We're in a somewhat rural area.
Yes.
And can you imagine, though, if there were different... If you could, I'm going to be facetious here, but if you could have open carry in Medicine Hat, and then in Lethbridge, there was absolutely no types of guns allowed at all.
Right.
And the confusion that would be caused if every municipality had different rules. It really needs... I mean, I don't agree with what the federal government's doing, but it needs to be a federal or at least a provincial.
So they're basically saying any municipality can make their own bylaws.
It sounds like that, yeah. And, I mean, I think this is geared to appease Toronto. The mayor of Toronto wants to have his own. And, of course, the Trudeau government always appeases out east.
Yeah.
But, the day we wade into this, I won't be around.
Okay. Well, we didn't have any questions rolled.
Well, everybody's happy with City Council, I guess.
Yeah, I guess things are running smoothly for you.
Well, my email says differently, but...
How many emails, do you average a day?
It so varies on the topic. When we were talking about the face masks, I mean, it was thousands.
Yeah.
Not per day, but per week back then. And then, of course, when we were talking about the power utility, we were just, kind of throwing out the idea. What would you guys think if it was for sale? And I didn't have a single person email me, what's it worth? It was just like, don't sell it. So it can be, 50 to 100 a day. And that when I say that, I mean email, I mean Facebook, I text, phone call. So it's probably about 100 a day on average.
Right.
I imagine you don't just hand out your cell phone number to people, do you?
Yeah, well, you can Google it. It's on the internet.
I suppose it would be if you're a public figure.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
okay. Just one last thing about that incentive, that program that we were talking about, that goes live March 1st. It's all web-based. You can apply online at Invest Medicine Hat. And even if you're building a new house in Herring Crossing or Cooley Ridge, there's something in there for everybody.
So would you like to see a lot more residential along the river then? Is that kind of one of the key pieces?
Residential and commercial, both were really encouraging. And there are a few, there's a couple lots that could be developed. And the phone started ringing off the hook yesterday from all over when we announced it. So,
well, stay tuned, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, listen, Steve and I aren't here next week, so you get a day off.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk to you the week after, which I believe is the first week of March.
Excellent.
Have a good day. Thanks for your time, sir.
You guys, thank you very much.
All right, bye for now.